Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm very excited to come at you with this video. Oh, I almost dropped all the books on the floor. Let's try that again. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I have my Victober TBR for you guys and I am very excited about it. For those of you who don't know, Victober is short for Victorian October and it is a month-long reading event that has been going for 3 years now and was first started by Katie from Books and Things. For the last couple of years, the event has been co-hosted by Katie from Books and Things, Kate Howe, Ange from Beyond the Pages, and Lucy from Lucy the Reader, and the general premise of the event is that they're trying to get all of us to read more Victorian literature. I think I've participated every single year and it's become a readathon that I really enjoy. It's very casual and I really love how excited these women are about Victorian literature. It just, you know, when you see somebody be really passionate about a specific book or author or genre, it just makes you really excited about it. I feel like that's pretty much this whole month. As usual, they have come up with several challenges that can help you tailor your TBR, and the overall goal for this year is to obviously read a Victorian novel, but then to part 2, watch a film or TV adaptation of that novel. If you guys have seen my last couple of readathon TBRs, you're probably very skeptical right now. You're like, okay, you haven't been reading at all during readathons this year. Why even bother making a TBR? 2 reasons. Number one, I just really love this readathon. I love how passionate all the hosts are, and I love that it makes me read books that I probably wouldn't prioritize otherwise. Last year I read Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell, and it ended up being my absolute favorite book of the year. So I do feel like I have a fairly good track record with this particular readathon. Number two, it's a month-long readathon, which gives me a little bit more flexibility, so if I have an off week, that's okay. I've got 3 others to, you know, work with otherwise. That being said, I am trying to be a bit more realistic, so what I've done is in my notebook here, I've broken things down into like my guaranteed TBR and then my if you get to it TBR. So let's go through those. In my guaranteed TBR, the first book I already kind of mentioned, and that is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. Now this is the group read for this year's Victober, so I feel like that's kind of accomplishing one challenge right there, and what I'm basically going to be doing is re-listening to the same audiobook that I listened to last Victober. Now if you're looking for a good audiobook, I would just make sure that you're listening to the full unabridged version. It's gonna be quite long. I think my version is 28 hours, but you definitely want to make sure you're listening to the full unabridged because it's worth every single minute. My version is narrated by Prunella Scales and I would highly recommend it. So if you are looking for a good audiobook version, I will link it down below in case you have Audible. And then for my other guaranteed read, this is kind of a cheat. Actually, it's very much a cheat because it's not technically Victorian. From what I understand, technically speaking, Victorian literature should be limited to British authors, which I guess makes sense given that it's a time designation based on an English queen. However, when I was browsing the literature on my shelves, when I was going through my classics, I noticed and picked up A New England Nun and Other Stories by Mary E. Wilkins Freeman. Now, Mary E. Wilkins Freeman is an American author, so she's not technically Victorian, but she grew up in the Victorian period. She was writing in the Victorian period. I don't know, I started rereading some of these stories because I had to read most of this collection for my undergrad work and just really got the craving to reread the entire collection. So I know not technically Victorian, but given that she's in the same historical period and given that I think she actually writes about very similar topics to British Victorian authors, I think I'm gonna go ahead and include this. Just to give you a little example of why I think she'll tie in very nicely with more traditionally Victorian authors, aside from being considered a religious writer, Mary E. Wilkins Freeman deals a lot with themes of romanticism, she deals with the Gothic, she deals with psychological symbolism, and she looks a lot at the cultural constructs of masculinity and the interconnection of rural life with modern culture and commerce. I don't know, I feel like thematically she fits in, time period wise she fits in, and I really wanted to read this, so there, I'm cheating. Sue me. So that is my guaranteed TBR, which again, I realize is a bit of a cheat, but whatever. I do also have a pile of books here that are basically just all of the other Victorian literature on my shelves that I may or may not get to during the month. On top of the pile here, I have some more Elizabeth Gaskell. I of course have North and South, but if I'm honest, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Granfurred if I do pick up any of these extra books. Granfurred, from what I understand, is a less of an overarching plot and more of a series of small vignettes about rural rural life in this one very small community. And from what I remember, the mini-series version of this is currently available on Amazon Prime. So I'm hoping to read this and then make it my Victorian adaptation for the month, but we shall see. Also, I probably should have mentioned that one of the challenges is to read one of the host's favorite Victorian authors, and Kate Howe's favorite Victorian author is Elizabeth Gaskell. So regardless, as long as I listen to Wives and Daughters, I'm gonna be knocking off that challenge. And then the other two books on my TBR are both Bronte books, though they are by different Brontes. So first of all, I have here Withering Heights by, of course, Emily Bronte. Now, I feel like this would be a good one to pick up in October, obviously, because it's a little bit more gothic and eerie, and it's a book that I really should have read by now. Honestly, I don't know how I got through honors and AP courses in high school and then a lit degree without reading Withering Heights, so I just feel like I should read this mainly because it's a huge hole in my lit knowledge, but I'm not really feeling super tempted by this one, if I'm honest. The other Bronte book and the final one on this TBR is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Now this one intrigues me a lot more simply because I don't know that much about Anne Bronte. She is kind of a mysterious figure in my mind. If I do get to a Bronte book, this would probably be the one that gets picked up, but realistically, I'm not gonna get to either of these. So just wanted to show you, still on my shelf, still unread, still hoping to get to it someday. Okay, so these are all of the books on my Victober TBR, and like I said, realistically, I'm probably only going to get to the books on my guaranteed TBR, though hopefully I will be able to at least start Granfurred as well. I guess the real reason I showed you guys all these books is that because I have been in such a mood reading mindset this year, I just wanted to give myself as many options as possible, so hopefully at least one of these will strike my fancy in addition to the guaranteed stuff. We shall see. Anyways, best of luck if you are participating in this Victober as well. Let me know one book that you are most excited about reading down in the comments below. I'm gonna wrap things up, so definitely check out the description box for all of the Victober related links. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.